from the betting capital of the world, giving raw and real breakdowns of mixed martial arts and recapping UFC events like no one else, with producer Martin on the ones and twos and combat sports betting expert Effie. You're listening to Any Action Sportscast. Any Action Sportscast. So put your headphones on and let's take this podcast to the next level.
This isn't a podcast. It's a sportscast.
What is up, guys? We are back. It's your boy Effie here, producer Martin on the ones and twos.
Welcome back to the number one sportscast in the world, where we give full card prediction and a betting breakdown. Make sure you guys smash that like button. If you're new to the channel, subscribe, turn on those post notifications, and share this video as well. UFC 272, Covington versus Masvidal. We've been looking forward to breaking down this card, but before we do that, let's go ahead and recap UFC Vegas 49 along with our picks.
Absolutely, man. I have a good time doing it because it was a good night for us. We make profit plus 4.5 units. We ended up going plus 6.5 units with the untracked parlay we ended up putting right before the fight started. But we'll go ahead and review all the bets we gave out on the show, man. This is a betting show. We bet on MMA. We try to give you guys some winners. And I feel like we're doing a good job. We're up 17 units on the year. And looking to keep it going. Looking to keep the good vibes going for sure. But we'll go ahead and go through the bets that we gave out. First, Islam Makhachev, inside the distance, minus 225. Now, that honestly probably should have been minus 1,000 because, like I said, I just didn't see how Bobby was going to make it to the card. It's 25 minutes, no way. Islam's weighing 160 to give him extra 5 pounds. 2.25 units to win one. Cashes that. That was good. Not even a sweat. Makhachev versus Green, we gave it out 1.5 rounds under at plus 120, 1 unit to win 1.2. Now, it was another easy hit. Like I said, the way the fight played out, I mean, Martin, you could have saw the whole fight at a red light if you were in traffic. The way he just did him so dirty was insane. Like, the guy's the real problem. And I don't want to hear about, like, oh, there's value on this, there's value on that. Bobby Green landed, 9 punches? And I was even surprised to see that number. I didn't see not 1 or 2. Like, I don't know how people thought there was value on Bobby. Like, unless Islam, like, slipped on the banana peel and broke both his legs, I don't see how there was any value on Bobby. He wasn't going to beat him, guys. Like, but whatever. I don't blame people for taking shots on him. That's just the game we play. I mean, hell, there's people that bet against Nunes to lose, and they cash that ticket for sure, on Pena. Crazy things happen in MMA for sure. But I thought Islam is just a different level than Bobby Green, and it showed. We'll go ahead and go. We sprinkled on some props, round 1 and round 2, Islam. Round 2 obviously didn't get there, but we hit round 1 plus 300. We gave out that at 0.2 units, less than 1 unit, 0.2 units to win 0.6. Hit that for profit. Then Misha Serkinov, bro, versus Wellington Turman. Now this one hurt. We had him at minus 125, 1.25 units to win 1. And he looked great in round 1. He looked bigger, looked better on the ground, looked like he had the striking advantage. And the momentum was really going in his side in the fight. He takes him down in round 2. He takes Turman down and just makes a mistake, leaves his arm out in the open, and gets armbarred from top. Turman gets a come from behind win, and we take the loss on that bet, and that one hurt for sure. It happens. Like I said, it's MMA. Then we had the Tarzukian Joel Alvarez over 1.5 rounds. This ended up being minus 1.65 units because it was minus 165. And it was looking good until it didn't, man. The way the fight was playing out, Joel Alvarez had a 0% takedown. He's never defended one takedown in the UFC. And I just thought if Arman gets him down, he's going to probably be able to control him here. And sure enough, he was doing that. In the round 1, he was beating him up, had him on the ground pretty much the whole round. And he was just controlling it. It was not a high pace, not a lot of violence, not a lot of strikes being thrown on the bottom. But then he gets cut near the end of round 1. Real bad. Breaks his nose, slice open, and it goes out of nowhere. The octagon is just bloody, man. Blood everywhere. And I was like, oh no, this is going to get stopped. And I'm surprised he didn't stop it in between rounds. The gash was like this big on his face, man. I was surprised they didn't stop it, but sure enough, he doesn't even last halfway through the second round. They stop the fight. Arman wins, and he ends up hitting for a parlay for us. He was one of the legs on a parlay, so that was good. But we ended up losing on the over because, like I said, that cut was just so dirty. Shout out to Arman, though. Arman's the truth. Might be a future championship contender here in the division. Then we had the underdog of the week, man, ends up hitting Arman Petrosyan versus Gregory Rodriguez. Now, this is a fight where it didn't play out like anyone thought. This fight went to the cards. I thought for sure someone was going to finish. All the cappers I know thought the fight was going to end, whether it be sub or knockout. But no, they go to the cards. Both these guys leave it out there. And it was a good fight, man. But I thought the right guy won. You can't call robbery. Shout out to Gregory, though. He put on a hell of a performance. and it was nice to hit that. We put 0.5 units to win 0.82 units. Hit that for profit. Then the young gun Ignacio Bahamundes, man, wins via third round submission, and he was looking good the whole fight and never was really in danger of losing that fight. His stand-up's just next level. He's just so big for the division, man. Even with his opponent missing weight, I wasn't worried. So we gave that out at minus 230, 2.3 units to win one. Then, man, it all comes down to my favorite part of the show, the lock of the night. We still have never missed one in our show's history. I honestly didn't expect to get this far going undefeated, but that's why they call it the lock of the nights, because they're freaking locks, bro. And our lock of the night hits Islam Makhachev, 2.5 rounds under. Gave that out at minus 135 for 5 units. We ended up able to get that for 5 units at minus 105 after the show ended. So just, crazy value. Like I said, Islam just walked right through Bobby Green. There's just levels to this game, and I just don't see how there's value at all on Green.
It was such great value. I felt like a missionary. I kept going door to door, friend to friend, asking people, did you take the lock of the night? You want to make some money? Just put this money in. I promise you, you'll make money. And eventually they ended up changing the lock of the night. I mean, some casinos took it away. And what did they change it to?
Yeah, it was funny. Before the fight started, me and Martin are on our phones looking at the mobile sportsbooks apps here in Vegas, and one of them just straight up stopped offering minus 2.5 rounds for the total and took it down to 1.5. And we thought that was kind of funny. We're like, oh man, our lock of the night's not even available at this book anymore, because how many people were probably laying it. And goes to show the faith in Islam was real. Like I said, man, that 5 pounds at 160, I think that's like what we're in the small cage. He's 160. Like, no, like what?
He looked big. If you thought he was big before, he looked really big. Plus, I needed him on a last-minute parlay. I had the under. I had Martinez, Bahamundes, Brahimaj, and Jay Nunez on a last-minute parlay that ended up catching out for me.
Yeah, dude. Shout out to Martin. Right before the car started, he was like, you know what? I'm gonna send it. Puts in a parlay that hits, and the lock of the night was the last leg. So, that was a good moment when our lock of the night hits, and especially for a last leg on the parlay. But just a quick shout out on the rest of the card. I thought the Terrence McKinney performance against Ziem was insane. If you had McKinney early to win by stoppage, good call. Shout out to him, man. Watch out for Terrence McKinney. I hope they give him like Patty the Batty or something. So a good fight like that. And then, we gave out a lean, Martin, Ramiz Brahimaj to win inside the distance, and Brahimaj to win by sub, because that's how bad Gilmore was. And that's exactly what he did. He won in round 1. As soon as he got him down, he submitted him, and it wasn't even close. I remember kicking myself, being like, dang it, why didn't I lay it? I didn't want to get risky with our units, but that could have been a lock of the night. Now I think about it, both those. Gilmore is just not UFC level. He's definitely not going to be in the UFC the next time they do cuts. But what can you say? It happens. And that will probably wrap it up for our recap on UFC Vegas, Makhachev versus Green. And now it's time to tune in to our UFC 272 breakdown, Covington versus Masvidal. Might as well be called the beef in the streets card, because there's some real beefs on this card for real. The line currently sits, guys, Colby Covington minus 320, Jorge Masvidal come back at plus 250. Now, the over-under is at 4.5 rounds for minus 140 to the over, plus 120 on the under. Where do we begin, man? First of all, everyone knows the story. They're roommates. They're, best friends turned enemies. And I think that, that will play a part in the fight. A lot of times it's like a lot of hype, and it's more like of a distraction or like a hype to get people to buy pay-per-views more than anything of a factor. But I think in this case, the fact that Jorge's coaches have spent so much time with Colby, man, it's going to lead to them, knowing some valuable stuff on him. I get it. He's at MMA Masters now with a whole different team, and he's improved, actually, in my opinion, since the move. But I think the fact that, he has that kind of in his corner, Jorge, I think that will help him for sure. But let's go ahead and look at how the actual two fighters match up. Both fighters are 3-2 in their last 5, with both losses coming to the champ, Usman. It's kind of strange. They just have similar career paths. Usman is just knocking both these guys down one by one at the same, at different times. But Colby, in my opinion, is a better fighter. There's a reason why he's a favorite. His styles make fights. He's gonna try to get him down. He's gonna try to, put the pace on him, put the pressure on him, get him against the cage. And that's why I think a lot of the fight will take place, will be against the cage in the clinch. I think whoever can win those positions will win the fight, and I think it's going to be Colby. and that, you know, minus 300, you know, in that area is a lot. So you gotta look at it of angle, like, how do I want to bet this? Do I want to bet the over? Do I want, you know, a prop? How does Colby win? Because I don't think he's gonna knock out Jorge. Do you? No, because he doesn't have power. He punched Robbie Lawler 500 times and couldn't get him down, or like, you know, drop him or anything. But he's not known for his power, you know, per se. But Jorge, on the hand, he can clip people. But I kind of want to get into Jorge's recent run, man, because in my opinion, he probably might be the most overrated fighter in the UFC. And I know that comes off as like I'm a hater. But I love Jorge, man. You should have seen my reaction when he KO'd Askren. I was at a B-Dubs. I'll never forget it. It's one of those moments we will never forget as a fan. But I'm just saying, look at his resume. We got, so he lost obviously to Usman. Got knocked out after saying, "Give me a full camp, give me a full camp." After taking that short notice Fight Island fight, loses, gets knocked out by a wrestler. You know, the decision loss on Fight Island, I actually can give him a pass for that. You know, had the, you know, crazy weight cut, had to do the travel in the sky for 11 hours. But before that, he beat Nate Diaz, who Nate Diaz has what, one win in the last 6 years in the UFC. Before that, he knocked out Ben Askren. Ben Askren is getting knocked out by YouTubers these days. And before that, he knocked out Darren Till. Darren Till is 1-4 in his last 5 UFC fights, with his only win coming against Kevin Gastelum. Kevin Gastelum's 1-4 in his last 5 UFC fights. Who's not beating Kevin Gastelum? So, and then before that, he lost to Wonder Boy, and before that, Damian Maia. To me, he's not worthy of his ranking at the welterweight division. It's going to be similar to the lightweight division. We'll talk about it later. A passing, like, you got to get out. You're old. You're not going to fight for the belt. Neither of these fighters are probably going to fight for the belt again if Usman's champ. They already fought twice. They already had their chance twice. You know, but I'm just not impressed by Jorge. You know, his skill set. He's kind of a journeyman. I hate to say it, just like Colby says. I know, like, he talks trash or whatever, but, like, I'm just not. I don't think he has the power to knock out Colby. And if he does, we can clip this and just run him knocking Colby out, like, right then and there. But I have faith in Colby, man. Even though his resume, you know, is nothing too crazy either. He lost to Usman and gave him a close fight in the second fight. Gave him a real close fight in the first fight. Got knocked out or finished, but, you know, mixed in a Tyron Woodley finish in there. In between both those fights. But before that, who was it before he fought the belt? Was it Robbie Lawler? Then he fought for the belt. Robbie Lawler is super old. Then before that, he fought RDA. RDA is not even in the division. He's in the lightweight now. He's actually fighting on the card. Before that, Damian Maia. Damian Maia is old. I mean, I hate to dismiss his wins like that, but, like,
What about Tyron Woodley?
Yeah. With the guy that was losing 15 straight rounds in a row.
Yeah, that guy.
Yeah, and also, you know, I hate to say, like, his wins just don't stand out. It's not his fault. It's, you know, his strength and schedule is not his fault. He signed up to fight who you fight, and it's just that his wins age like milk, just like Jorge's. And in conclusion, I think Colby is gonna win this fight, and I think he's gonna do it using his pace, his cardio, his ability to avoid strikes. Because, guys, his striking actually was not that bad. I thought he was improving against Usman. His striking, you know, hit him a few times. And I will say, I heard the champ on the desk, at the UFC desk, Usman, say something that I thought was real smart. He said, the fight itself is going to be different than what Colby and Jorge thought what happened in the last bar. Meaning, like, for Jorge, it's going to be harder to hit Colby, and for Colby, it's going to be harder to take him down. Because Jorge's obviously improved his defense and wrestling, and Colby on the other has improved his striking. So it's going to be a little different. It's not going to be completely the same. But I do have a sense of feeling that, like, whoever wins this fight kind of knows that they're going to win the fight right now. Just like when Kamaru beat Gilbert, they kind of knew who was going to win the fight before prehand. You know, you have that much experience with each other, you're that close to someone. I think they have a pretty good idea how this is going to go.
It's like a modern day Tito versus Chuck. And that being said, we may see a Colby Jorge 2. We may see him go at it 3 times. You know, I mean, who has more to lose here, do you think, in this case? I mean, if Colby loses or Jorge, what do you think?
I think Covington has more to lose. I think that Covington has more, I guess, of a realistic aspiration to fight for the belt again, versus Jorge, who's 37 years old. Like, if he loses, he still has big fights. He's still a big name. He's still a big draw. He won't lose his star power with the loss. He's lost a million times. People don't care. But if he goes out and gets dominated, I mean, maybe. But if he goes out, you know, on his shield, then no, I think he keeps his fans. But Colby, on the other hand, if he gets knocked out, I don't know where he goes from here, especially not, you know, the top 5 ranking or anything like that. Hopefully, though, I will say one of these guys has to run into Shavkat Rakhmonov one day and fight that dude with the funny hat. Depends on how the fight goes. If one guy gets finished, then no. If it goes to 5 rounds in a decision, then probably yeah. Actually, man, that's actually a good question. I don't know. I'm gonna say yeah. Regardless of outcome, I'm gonna say yeah that they do shake hands. But when the fight starts, they won't shake hands. Like, you know how they do the glove touch, they're not gonna do that. Actually, if you could bet that, if you can find like some sort of prop person, like place you could do that, I'd take that.
You already know. Down, make it close, and you're gonna see Jorge on the cage with.
And you know what? I want to give a shout out to John Anik. If they don't touch gloves, and John Anik says, "Go ahead and cash those tickets that they don't touch gloves," that would be sick. Hopefully he does that. But yeah, I'm predicting that they don't touch gloves. I'm predicting that they don't touch gloves in the center when they go take the center straight away. And I think Colby immediately puts the pressure on him. But yeah, stay tuned for the end of the episode because we do have action on this fight. There is some action on this fight. Go ahead and go to the co-main event, man. That got canceled. RDA versus Rafael Fiziev no longer happening. Breaking news this morning, actually. I was at work and Martin texted me the news and I was just so bummed, man. I thought Fiziev was gonna run right through RDA. I know that's a hot take. Everyone, talking about experience, but I think the age difference, the speed difference. The only red flag to me as far as Fiziev was maybe his gas tank. He throws everything in his strikes. But no, it's not going to happen. He gets COVID, ends up getting COVID the week of the fight, and all hell broke loose on Twitter. Every lightweight in the world wants to fight and get the sub and fight against the aging RDA. Now I understand it because I think he was going to lose. But if they give this fight, Martin, to Islam, at first I was like, there's no way Islam takes a fight because he has a title shot lined up. He's worked so hard for this 10-fight winning streak. He just had to take a short notice opponent. And apparently he's down. Apparently he's down for a 170 fight against RDA. Now, RDA, I don't know if you saw this, producer Martin, but he responded with 165. He goes, "Oh, I'm down by 165." So now Makhachev's like, "Are you trying to find a way out?" RDA responded with, "No, are you trying to find a way out?" And that's where the talks have stopped. So who knows? Maybe in the time we recorded this episode, they've agreed to fight, but hopefully they do fight. And if they do, again, lay Makhachev inside the distance. He's going to finish RDA if they fight. If they fight, that's not the luck of the night, but that because it's not obviously fighting. The fight's not happening. But if they were to happen, not saying it's luck of the night, but go ahead and take that bet. Islam Makhachev to finish RDA if they fight. So bummer for the pay-per-view, man. A big hit. I hope to get him a replacement, whether it be a Sunsao or Demiris Magulov or Islam or whoever. But I hope to get RDA a fight he hasn't fought since 2020 against Paul Felder. So hopefully they get him a replacement. Help the pay-per-view because that was a big sting to me. That was the fight I was looking forward to most, honestly. But with that, we'll go ahead and go to Edson Barboza versus Bryce Mitchell. Now this is gonna be a great fight, man. The odds currently sit Bryce Mitchell, the undefeated fighter, minus 150. Edson Barboza plus 130. Now, this is a classic grappler versus striker fight, and also a sort of veteran versus up and comer fight. Bryce Mitchell's 11-0. Edson Barboza's 22-10. Edson is 2-3 in his last 5. But those losses, I thought he could be easily 3-2 because I thought he beat Dan Ige. He lost to Paul Felder in a close fight, and he got finished by Giga in his most recent fight. And so the question to me is, are we seeing the beginning of the decline of Edson? And he just so happens to run into this young gun, Bryce Mitchell, who's just this crazy good grappler, man. Like, he's legit on the ground. Well, I do think there's value on Edson Barboza, dude. He has a win over Beneil Dariush, Dan Hooker, Anthony Pettis. Like, he has fought the better guys in the UFC in his career. But those were 5 years ago, 4 years ago. And so, like I said, it depends on where is he at in his point in his career, because I think he should probably win this fight. If he can keep it standing, I trust Edson to win this fight. But the thing is, if he gets down, can he get up? Because I'm sure Bryce is going to get Edson down. There's no way he doesn't get taken down. It's just, can he get up? Can he avoid getting submitted? And in 32 professional fights, he's only gotten submitted twice. That's pretty impressive to me, especially when he fought people like Khabib, and then, like I said, Anthony Pettis, Beneil Dariush. Beneil Dariush is one of the best lightweights in the world right now. So, he got he did get submitted by Tony Ferguson, like I said, elite, lightweight, and also Cowboy Cerrone, UFC Hall of Famer. I just think that maybe the over might be the play, but Bryce is dangerous, so there's going to be no action. I do lean the underdog here. I think there's a live dog. I'm not going to bet it. If you like Bryce, I understand, man. The guy's on a hot run. He's streaking up toward the division, but he's been a little bit inactive. You haven't seen him fight since 2020, and and then maybe Edson, has a bounce back fight after fighting someone like Giga. Which brings us to the next fight, which should be a good one, man. Kevin Holland versus Alex Oliveira. The line currently sits Kevin Holland at -290, Oliveira at +230. Now I'm surprised at that line. I thought it was going to be closer for sure. But no, they see Kevin Holland as a big favorite here. And, I see why. He's 5 years younger, has a 4-inch reach advantage and a 4-inch height advantage. He's coming off back-to-back losses to Marvin Vettori and Derek Brunson. Both those guys, I think, beat Oliveira as well. So, not a big deal to me. Before that, though, he had a 5-fight win streak where he showed he could knock guys out, win by decision, and win via sub. Sort of a well-rounded guy with a definite, lack in wrestling, grappling. So he's, obviously, I'm assuming he's using that and working toward that to improve his game. Oliveira, on the other hand, on a 3-fight losing streak, not really impressed with him. No action on this fight, like I said. Am I willing to bet 2.9 units on Kevin Holland? No. But is he worth a parlay piece? Maybe. If the line crashes, though, if people come in and bet on Oliveira, -270, I can see myself betting on Kevin Holland at that price for sure. But for this fight, we don't have any action. The next fight, though, I have no idea why this is on the pay-per-view card. Sergey Spivak versus Greg Hardy, the ex-NFL player. Spivak -200, Greg Hardy +170. Now Spivak is 13-3, Greg Hardy is 7-4. Like I said, I have no idea how this is on the main card. They're just trying to push Greg Hardy, and I think he's going to lose and get kicked out of the UFC after he loses. We'll go ahead and talk about the fight. So, not including Contender Series, Greg Hardy is 4-4 in the UFC. All 4 wins that he's had, none of those guys are in the UFC still. Not one. 0. He's beaten 0 current UFC fighters. But his losses, I will say, are 2 good fighters. So he's lost to Tai Tuivasa, Volkov, and Marcin Tybura. I mean, those guys are good. Those guys are all really good. So you can't really knock on him there. Those are understandable losses, especially with the level of experience. I really don't see how anyone expected him to win those fights. But yeah, he has that whole always athletic and he can explode and get knocked out at any moment type thing behind him. He played in the NFL for years. Got kicked out for pushing his wife and she landed on her head and like cut her head or whatever. Super bad guy, piece of crap guy. Everyone roots against him, but apparently he's a changed man and all his teammates stand by him. His coaches say he's a good dude and just trying to make it in this UFC run. But as far as his skill set wise, I don't think he's UFC level. I just think the UFC is trying to push him, trying to get clicks, not clicks, but build a fighter up. When if he becomes good. But I don't see it happening. I think Spivak here is going to get him down and probably finish him as soon as the fight gets to the ground. I expect this fight to end. Greg Hardy is live though for a first round knockout, even second round knockout, but he has a gas tank issue, man. Martin, he's famous for taking his inhaler out and hitting it in between rounds, which lost him the fight, or should have lost him the fight. I think. I don't know if he did get DQ'd or not, but yeah, it was just the most bizarre thing. Everyone's like, "What the hell did he just hit his inhaler on the stool?" Obviously, you can't do that, but it has a obviously bad cardio issue, and I think Spivak here is, I want to say a lock because it's the heavyweight division. I don't think a heavyweight fighter is ever a lock because they can swing like that on one punch, but he's pretty close to being a lock in my opinion, and we're going to go ahead and be on this fight a couple ways, so make sure you tune into the end of the show to see how we bet this fight. The next fight, we don't have any action on. Jalen Turner versus Jamie Malarky. Oh, actually, I don't see the odds in front of me. Oh, yeah, here it is. Malarky coming in at +140. Now, I don't have any action on this fight, like I said, but I do lean Turner. I think he is live for a knockout. Malarky's going to have to get this to the ground and use his wrestling here, but I think Turner has a 100% finish rate in his fights, whether he's getting finished or he's doing the finishing. So, like I said, no action, but I do lean Turner. The odds are, pretty accurate. I think that's a pretty close fight. Maybe slight value on Jamie, actually. But I lean Turner. I think he's going to win the fight. After that, a card or a fight that I think should be on the main card. The winner of this fight is fighting for the belt 100%. Marina Rodriguez versus Zion Yan. It's hard to pronounce, so I'm just gonna call her Yan. The line currently sits Rodriguez -250, Yan +210. Now I was surprised because these are pretty good fighters, and to have that big of a discrepancy in the line with that high level of women's MMA, I was kind of shocked at that. But I lean Marina Rodriguez, man. I think she's gonna win. I think the power difference here is gonna show itself. I think Yan is a good fighter, respectable fighter, but the way she got handled by Carla in her last fight, I think proved that she's not. I don't want to say not really a contender, but not quite there yet. Maybe maybe she had an off night. Maybe she bounces back and gets a win here. But I think Marina wins. I think she's fought the better fighters and being the better fighters. I think if Jan wants to win, she needs to get Rodriguez down. Rodriguez is a better striker here, without a doubt, in my opinion. I think if she has to spam wrestling takedown attempts, like one after another, one after another, one after another. But the thing is, if you look at the numbers, when she does get them down, she doesn't control her opponents for a long time. They have a habit of getting up quickly. And so if Marina can, one, defend the takedowns, two, get up if she does get taken down, and make this a stand-up fight the way she wants, I really think she wins. And I'm real high on Marina. We're gonna go ahead and bet this fight a couple ways. We'll have action on this fight for sure. Marina Rodriguez versus Zhang Yan. Like I said, should be on the main card. What are you doing, Dana? And after that, our last fight that we'll talk about is Tim Elliott versus Tagir Ulanbekov. The line currently sits Ulanbekov minus 235, Tim Elliott plus 195. Now, this is a classic veteran versus up-and-comer fight. Tagir is coming out of Khabib's camp, Eagles MMA. Tim Elliott, UFC veteran, the guy's record is 17-12-1, have a ton of pro fights, whereas Tagir, who's 13-1. Now, Tim is 2-4 in his last 6 fights, but it's not like he's not a good fighter, guys. He's lost to Figgy, the champ, Brandon Royval, a contender, and Askar Askarov, another top contender. Honestly, he should probably be fighting for the belt soon. So those losses are not that bad. His last loss, he probably would have liked to have back. But Tagir, on the other hand, he's younger than Tim, but he's 30. I thought he was going to be younger. I was surprised to see his age was 30. He looks younger. But it's funny, man. Khabib might be the only guy on his team in his camp that doesn't have good striking. The other guys, they all strike a lot. This guy in Umar, who's also on the card, they throw kicks, bro, like crazy. They have super fast kicks. They use their striking to get in the clinch, use their trips, and they're just super well rounded, man. The Russian invasion is coming, and I'm not talking about Ukraine. I'm talking about the UFC rankings, because Tagir is here, Umar is here, and heck, if Islam gets on the card, go ahead and parlay all of Abdul Mayat's students. Coach Khabib has a great record in the UFC. But as far as this fight, I just think Tagir will be able to be the better wrestler here and win minutes on the mat. And even in the stand-up, he's going to have a 5-inch reach advantage. And like I said, he's quick. Tim Elliott, is, I think, 34 years old. And that's old for flyweight, man. So the odds, like I said, 235 is pretty good odds on Tagir. I think he's going to win. I don't think Coach Khabib's going to let him lose. And the way, is he going to win by decision or sub or knockout? I don't know. Tim Elliott's only been subbed twice, or finished 5 times in 12 pro fights, so close to half, or 12 losses, I should say. But no, I lean Tagir. We're going to have action on Tagir, and he might be on a parlay. So with that, that'll wrap up all of our fighting breakdowns for UFC 272. We'll go ahead and pass it to the wizard, the right-hand man behind the scenes making it all happen, producer Martin, for the Any Action official bets.
Our UFC 272 official picks: Covington versus Masvidal over 3.5 rounds, minus 165, 2.5 units to win, 1.36 units. Covington via decision, minus 115, 1.5 units to win 1. Spivak, minus 200, 2 units to win 1. Spivak inside the distance, plus 110, 0.5 to win, 0.55 units. Marina Rodriguez, minus 250, 2.5 units to win 1.
And we had to give out a parlay for the pay-per-view week this week. We're going to go ahead and give out a 2-leg parlay, pays even money. We're talking about Marina Rodriguez minus 250 and Tagir Ulanbekov minus 235, 2.01 units to win 2. And with that, Martin, it's time for the lock of the night, UFC 272, Any Actions lock of the night, Tagir Ulanbekov minus 235, 5 units to win 2.12 units. I feel great about this pick. We're going for our 7th one in a row. We haven't missed a single one in our show's history. I think he's going to win this fight wherever it goes, whether it be on the feet or on the ground. I trust him. I trust Coach Khabib to get us his 7th win. He's going to be in the corner, and I feel good about this bet, man. So let's go win some money, and hope you guys enjoyed the show. Anything else you wanted to say to the show, viewers, real fast, Martin?
Yeah, you know what? I actually want to announce a few things. This week, we actually have a few things planned. It's a busy week for Any Action Sportscast. We have a UFC 272 press conference on Thursday. We'll be going over there at the T-Mobile Arena interviewing people, so expect a great video on that. The very next day, we're going to Tough Enough here in Las Vegas at the Circle Casino. Their first time back in 2 years, so we're going to be covering those fights and interviews, so go ahead and check that out. And we also have a fighter interview planned on Wednesday, so expect a video on that. Any Action Sportscast first ever professional fighter interview.
Absolutely, guys. I think we're in store for a good night of fights. Make sure you guys tune in next week for when we break down UFC Vegas 50, Santos versus Ankalaev, and recap today's show. If you guys enjoyed the breakdown, make sure you smash that like button. If you're new to the channel, go ahead and subscribe. Help us out. If you like the video, leave a comment. Let us know what you think about the picks. It helps us out a lot. We'll continue to take any action, and we'll see you guys on the next show. Peace. Which way to go? If you want to smoke, say